By now, of course, I was sick. 7 years of writing down the drain, not even first base, let alone the Pulitzer Prize winner. I entertained the thought of going to Santa Monica Beach and go swim back to Maui. After a drunken spree of several days, I received another envelope from Lonnie, the wild woman of Marshall, Illinois. I forced myself to open the envelope with an insufferable hangover and prepared to hang my head over the toilet bowl. The letter was just as severe as the first one, but not as excruciating and unrelenting. The lady, Lonnie Handy, actually apologized for the torturous and punishing letter she had written me, but she did not let up. I am cruel in order to be kind, she said. It was a long, single-page, three-page letter, a little kinder, a little gentler, nevertheless, still brutal, still unforgiving. She said she is a teacher, not an agent or publisher. If I wanted to learn to write, she could help me. She expected complete trust in her judgment. Utterly, that's the word she used all the time. Utterly was the word she emphasized several times. And so began my long journey with Lonnie Handy, a long series of correspondences of basic rules of writing, of the spiritual aspect of writing. As you sow, that shall you reap. A doctor goes to medical school to become a doctor. A writer goes to a writer school to become a writer. Lonnie Handy's method of teaching beginning writers was to have the student actually copy great writers' works: Hemingway, Steinbeck, Faulkner, Dos Passos, Woolf, Chandler, and James Jones. I did not know what she meant by copying the works of great writers. I wanted to become a writer, not a plagiarist. When she kept pounding me to copy, I finally gave in and started copying James Jones's Familiar Eternity. I quickly discovered that by copying, one cannot help but read every sentence, every paragraph, every comma and period one would normally overlook. Also, one notices the unimposing transitions from one chapter to another. More importantly, as Lonnie Handy stressed, copy enhances concentration utterly. One rises above self-forgetfulness, self-centeredness, hate, love, fear, anger, and sorrow. Good writer rises above these thoughts. When one learns to concentrate, then on the mental plane, time and place do not exist. Like the finished bird, she said, you rise above the dead ashes of the past, and in so doing, the doors of the future are open. She had written me in one of her letters to burn the manuscript I had written. I couldn't do it. 7 years and 1,000 pages. Should I drop dead, no one would know that I even existed. Lonnie always said we in touch each other through the airwaves, mental telepathy. When the pages I sent her was not improving, she knew that I had not destroyed my manuscript. You still have that manuscript, don't you? She wrote. I told you, burn it, destroy it. It is destroying you. If you don't do it right now, stop writing to me. I can't waste my time on anyone who doesn't believe in me utterly. That night, after much painful thoughts and deliberation, I decided to believe in Lonnie utterly. I gathered my 12 inches of manuscript, went to the waste barrel of my apartment, then hesitantly, then swiftly, with tears flowing in my eyes, dumped the manuscript into the barrel. Miraculously, I felt emancipated. A great catharsis took place, free from the dead past, free from an obsessive dream. Not having any ties with my first novel anymore, I started on my new novel, new setting, new characters. My fellow internal revenue agents were attending law schools or CPA classes. They wanted to know what I was doing on my own spare time. Except for a close friend, I did not reveal to anyone else my ambition to become a writer. I thought it would be too presumptuous. There were times when I wanted to dump everything in the waste barrel and forget about writing. Who the hell am I to think I am James Jones? Me, a barefoot boy from Maui. However, whenever I received a letter from Lonnie telling me that my writing has improved, I would get a big high and keep on writing. And so there were the highs and lows throughout the 4 years I corresponded with Lonnie. One day, I received a telegram from Lonnie. Her husband, Harry, had died. I, of course, sent her a telegram of my own, expressing my condolences. The same week, I got a letter from Lonnie. She said I was ready to come to the colony and finish my novel. I had been ready for 4 years to come to the colony, to devote full time to my novel, to get away from a boring job and my inane, meaningless life. At the luncheon given me by my fellow IRS agents, I said, someday, if you see me selling pencils at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, I hope you won't be too harsh on me. I gave away all my suits, neckties, extra shoes, and other personal belongings to a Salvation Army. I was on my way. It was on my way to Southern Illinois in 2 days. I felt loose, carefree, like my barefoot days on Maui. Excuse me. Marshall, Illinois turned out to be even more beautiful, serene, and peaceful than I had imagined it to be. It was the beginning of spring. The air was crisp, invigorating, the leaves green and sparkling. When I discovered where the colony was, I entered a private dirt road and came to a sign with a gate with a sign that said, "The Last Retreat." I would learn that Jones had put a sign there, which meant once you leave the colony and return to it, it would be your last retreat. I opened the gate and drove into the large 7 acres of the colony grounds. Before coming to Lonnie's cabin, I passed a big house, which turned out to be Jones's mansion, where he wrote his novels after From Here to Eternity. Lonnie had expected me. She came out of the cabin and greeted me with a warm hug. She then invited me into her cabin, which had a warm, glowing fire in the fireplace. It was a spare living room with several large bookshelves, magazine racks, a typewriter, and a bouquet of fresh flowers. No radio, no TV, no newspapers. After sitting down and exchanging niceties, she asked me, "What books are you on now?" I told her, "From Here to Eternity," Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, and when I said Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls, she jumped up from the chair, her mouth twitching. She started screaming at me, "I don't want you to ever read Hemingway." She stepped over to the bookshelf, grabbed one of Hemingway's books, and threw it at me. Any man who blows his head off is not worth reading. She grabbed another of Hemingway's book and threw it at me again. Then another. I had to lift my arms to avoid getting hit by the books. "You want Hemingway?" she said. "Read this, here." She picked up the books on the floor and threw it at me. "You no good Chinaman," she screamed. "Get out of here. Go to your cabin and stay there." Is this really happening? I, of course, knew that Lonnie was not an ordinary person, but to blow her stack because I mentioned Hemingway. She had even forgotten I was Japanese. I drove over to my cabin, which she had indicated when I first arrived, carried in whatever little I had brought with me, and flopped down on the bed. I looked around the tiny cabin. I had an old desk, a chair, a kitchen with a small refrigerator, and a shower stall. I wondered, how long am I going to last here? I had quit a career job, told my friends that I was going to a writer's colony, and here I was, putting my life in the hands of a crazy woman. In a few minutes, there was a soft knock on the door. John, now what?"